Also, we have successfully delivered the 800 kV 6000 megawatt UHVDC link between the Western grid and the Southern region grids. Delivery of 45 numbers of super rapid gun mounts to the Indian Navy and commissioning and resynchronization of Unit 3 of the 180 megawatt of Mangdechu hydroelectric project Bhutan ahead of the contractual delivery schedule testifies our commitment to make up for the loss of time due to COVID-19 pandemic. Up to Q2 FY22, prominent orders won include the largest ever order for EPC of Turbine Island package for 6 units of 700 megawatt PHWRs from NPCIL. With this order, BHEL has retained its market leadership for being the sole Indian supplier of nuclear steam turbines and generators. Additionally, in non-coal sector, prominent orders include for supply of IGBT-based 3-phase propulsion systems, strategic equipment for Ministry of Defense, STGs to metallurgical industry, etc. We continue to retain our leadership in the thermal sector, while at the same time are focusing on diversification to increase our share of non-coal business. In the core area of thermal business, revamp of spares and services business is being undertaken as a high priority area. For non-coal areas, efforts are being made to enter into strategic partnership with global OEMs in a number of areas, such as transport, defense, digitalization, etc. In addition to strategic technology sourcing, the company is also making relentless efforts to develop and indigenize technologies. The company has indigenously designed and installed and demonstrated a 0.25 TPD methanol generation technology demonstration plant in high ash Indian coal with more than 40% ash content at Hyderabad. The plant had produced methanol with purity of more than 99%. Notably, conversion of high ash Indian coal to methanol through gasification route is the first of its kind technology demonstration in India. Additionally, we have received certification for our compact 122 kilowatt DC fast charger for charging electric vehicles. We have also developed the country's largest size Kaplan turbine for the 12 into 80 megawatt Polavaram HEP project. The company is capitalizing on opportunities arising from Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. We have successfully completed indigenous development of 500 kilowatt main motor generator for naval application, along with endurance trials establishing BHEL's capability in designing and developing complex defense systems. We have also received developmental order from ONGC for supply of 15,000 PSI wellheads and express-tree valves that are currently imported. Coming to the financial performance, the company has made strenuous efforts and achieved better results on the profitability and cash front. The revenues have improved with respect to Q2 of the previous financial year as well as with respect to the Q1 of the current financial year. The company has taken up a major vaccination drive across manufacturing units as well as project sites for ensuring continuity of operations in case of any further COVID waves. As mentioned previously, it is aligning its manufacturing supplies and BOIs in line with project progress. For Q2 21-22, the top line improved to 4,911 crores against 3,444 crores in Q2 of FY 2021. That is up by 43%, which has also helped the company to achieve a positive EBITDA. While on the one hand, the company is trying to enhance the volume of operations, and on the other, the benchmark for break-even has been brought down by various cost reduction measures. The material cost is maintained at a consistent range of 69 to 70% despite significant impact of surging metal prices and restrictions on global procurements, especially from certain geographies. This is after factoring in the adverse impact on material cost for the increased proportion of civil revenues in the overall turnover. There has been a cost reduction drive in the company, and the manufacturing, administrative, sales and distribution expenses as a percentage of revenues have come down to less than 10% in Q2 from about 15% in the last year. In Q2 of FY 21-22, the company has a positive EBITDA of 45 crores. However, the loss at PAT level is about rupees 67 crores, which is a significant improvement from the EBITDA PAT level losses at 528 crores and 556 crores in the corresponding period of the previous financial year. The revenues are higher by about 43% in H1 on the back of similar performance witnessed in Q1 of the current financial year. Coming to cash flows and receivables, traditionally the company has seen higher investment in the working capital with higher revenues. However, H1 of the current financial year has seen working capital release of 366 crores, despite revenues rising by about 43%. The company has had cash and bank balances net of borrowings of 1,433 crores at end of Q2 21-22, which is higher than the balance of 1,255 crores at the end of Q2 2021. Total receivables are at 31,159 crores, which are marginally lower than the March 21 levels of 31,292 crores. Further, as compared to H2 of FY 2021, the trade receivables are substantially lower at rupees 7,220 crores as compared to rupees 11,432 crores in the previous year. That is a reduction of more than 4,000 crores despite revenues growing by 2,300 crores. Thank you all once again for joining this conference call. We will take questions now.
We will now begin the question and answer session. We'll wait for queue to assemble. Participants who wants to ask the question, please signal the operator by raising their hand. The first question is from the line of Mr. Sumit Kishore from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. My first question is to the current receivable and contract asset position is as of September 20.
Your voice is not clear. Can you repeat that, please?
So I was asking for the current receivable and the contract asset position as of September 20.
The receivables and contract assets as on first April.
बता दो Yogesh. Yeah. 23. What he was asking the number? Hello, are you asking the number of contract assets or what at the end of September?
Contract assets
Number
as of
of
30th September are 23,938 crores.
Okay, and the current receivable
7,220 crores.
Okay. And what is the order backlog?
What was that?
Order backlog.
Order outstanding.
Order outstanding is 1,10,000 crore, including non-executable.
What is the executable portion?
Hello, yes.
What's the executable portion in this?
Executable is 90,000 crore out of 1,10,000 crore. That is around 82% of 1,10,000 crore. 20,000 crore approximately are non-executable orders.
Okay, okay. And so my last bookkeeping question is in terms of what was the net provision in Q2 FY22 versus corresponding quarter Q2 FY21 last? The net provision is
Provisions.
So provisions withdrawal.
So we have a withdrawal of 180 crores for Q2 of 21-22. Net withdrawal.
okay. Compared to what was the
Q2, no, I'm just giving, yes, what CMD Saab has told, just now I'm giving the breakup of the same. The creation is 159 crore, the withdrawal is 340 crore. So the net is 180 crore for Q2.
okay?
Withdrawal is
And
more
so
than
and Q2 last year
and up to
Q2 last year.
Q2
Q2
last year creation was 626 crore, withdrawal was 600 crore. The creation was 26 crore last year.
Okay, I'll get back in the.
Next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar, DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir, and congratulations on good set of a better set of numbers. So my first
Thank you.
question is on the which we have been talking about in the sense we last reported UI. Is there any update or something which you can share which you've done and which you expect to fructify in the next couple of quarters? And can you broadly comment on that?
Well, we are looking at some things happening in the next couple of quarters, but at this point in time, I think we will not be able to share more than that.
Okay.
Focus on execution. Completion.
Yeah, the second question is there any asset monetization target which we are expected to do over next couple of years? Is there something which you agreed with the central government?
No, as of now, we don't have any target given to us.
Okay. So lastly, on the second half execution and order inflow outlook, how do you see, the orders, some of the orders which are pending in the system, do you expect those to crystallize the next couple of quarters, and especially the Talcher and on the FGD, do you see the second half to be better compared to last year, or do you think this FGD will get postponed to FY23 again? Ordering activity.
Talcher is being cancelled. The FGD, we are expecting to get some movement in the coming H2.
If I could add,
Yeah, Mr. Manocha will
next
add.
week, NTPC has called for the NID also for 2 into 660. They are going for a depackaging now. No doubt it was annulled on 4th October, but it is being revived and it will be on the fast track basis. This I would like to share. Thank you.
FGD, anything else you want to share?
FGD is not that big. Whatever orders that will be happening, yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
there are a
Mr.
lot of
Manocha.
orders which we can see from states which are open. What is the reason for them not closing? Do you don't expect those orders to close in H2?
Which orders are you talking about?
I'm talking about Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, all kind of FGD orders from all these states, Tamil Nadu.
Tenders.
I'm talking state
We are talking about
FGD.
executive order. And I'll tell you about the state governments. The going is slow as far as the state governments are concerned. But otherwise, if you see, the total ordering which has happened is 92 gigawatt has already been ordered by center and some other states have ordered. But some of the tenders are being re-tendered now. As far as FGD is concerned, Mahagenco is going and this Rajasthan also is going for re-tendering. So that process is on for FGD's orders.
But you don't expect any sharp movement, right? In finalization of those orders?
Sharp movement is not expected because if we see in this fiscal, we could get the order for Tipat only from NTPC, whereas they had some 5 more projects there for which the L1 bidders had emerged, but the orders have not been placed even by NTPC also in the lot 6.
Understood, sir. So one more question, sir. How is the ordering outlook looking on the industrial side?
Order outlook on the industrial side.
It continues to be more or less in the same. I wouldn't say there's going to be a great upheaval in the second half. It will be continuing to be the same as it is in the first. There are opportunities which are being announced both in solar sector, in refineries, but likelihood of finalization within this fiscal would be very less.
Understood. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Railways. Next.
I will repeat, the participants who wants to ask the question, please signal the operator by raising the hand. Next question is from the line of Mr. Deepak Krishnan, Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Just wanted to check if there's any one-off in the DNA expense, because DNA expense is relatively lower to the quarterly run rate.
No, there's no exceptional reason for expenses going down. It is basically, we have exercised a tight budgetary control over these miscellaneous expenses. That is one of the major reasons for that. You see, there is a growth in revenue by almost 48%, but despite the miscellaneous expenses have gone down. So it's a control basically. As CMD has told in the opening remarks, that cost optimization, cost reduction, these are the priority areas for the company. That's why it has happened.
We have, in fact, we
Specifically
have,
on the
just to add to that, we have-
depreciation also.
sorry?
Depreciation, we have reviewed the useful life of the machines actually. And that is a requirement of India. Every year we have to review it. So where we find that certain machines are there, certain plant and machineries, which have longer time, technically the life is more than the accounting life. There we reviewed and changed the depreciation rates.
And as far as the cost front is concerned, we have a separate group set up, which is the cost optimization and control group, which is actually focusing on all elements of the cost. And that, I think, the successes of that are showing.
Sure, sir.
And
Could
one
you
more
also
thing,
give us the order in?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, could you also give us the order inflow for the quarter by segment?
Order inflow for the quarter by segment.
In Q2,
हमारी order book में होगा ना?
quarter wise, in industry sector, it is 1286 crores.
Total is 1286 for the quarter, including your power sector, industry sector, and IU.
Q2 industry sector is 1286.
It is 1286 for industry sector, then we have for power sector 11,575, and then for IU it is
For quarter two.
we can really talk about only industry sector and power sector.
So could you repeat that? I could not get the two numbers.
Okay, I'm sorry, and I'll tell power sector.
It is 11,575 crores for the power sector and 1,286 crores for the industry sector.
Yes.
Sure. So, thanks a lot. Those were my
For
questions.
quarter two है ना तो.
Thank you.
Next question is from the line of Puneet Gulati,
I think you guess
HSBC
what this is about to
Securities.
be. I think it's
Please go
time
ahead.
for another beer gear.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you talk a bit more about what are you doing to, improve your gross margins? You talk about material cost reduction. Can you talk a bit more about it despite the commodity headwinds?
In fact, that is the major challenge that we are facing at this point, and we are looking at the two levers will be, one, the increase in the turnovers, and two, the reduction in the cost. These are the two major levers that we are looking at.
But on the material side,
What you have is the gross margin will improve only in case the top line improvement happens. That is one. Number two, as the metal consumption you have rightly said, the prices of all the inputs, major inputs, steel, copper, aluminum. All those metals have gone up, in the last, the impact is not there in the quarter two numbers, but something may be there in the quarter three number, which we don't know today. But we have returned to all our major customers. We are demanding this escalation and the cost increase in the metal cost. And there is one more thing that we are following the government guidelines, instructions, where, that GT, Global Tender Inquiry, we are not going now. Ultimately, we are not sourcing from China also. That is also one of the reasons which is impacting our financials. But we are taking all these impacts, additional impacts on the financial of BHEL with the customer. So once, customer also agrees to the whole thing, then I think probably we're likely to recover after some time.
is there some portion of your orders where you can pass through directly, or everything will have to be negotiated separately?
Because change in law, we are basically contesting with the customer due to change in law. The change in law means if there is a restriction for, for imports, from neighboring countries and China and outsourcing, all those restrictions are there. That is one reason we are citing to the customers, and now we are asking for additional compensation for enhanced metal cost.
Understood. My second question was on the
And
receivables.
50%, one more fact is that, our basically whatever order book we have in hand today, 50% of the orders are on farm price basis. 50% of the orders are on PVC basis. So as where the order is with PVC, we don't have major impact, but where the orders are on farm price basis, certainly impact is there. That is one of the reasons our material cost is going high. But you will appreciate the fact that, we are still able to contain our material cost at 69% level as it was up to Q2 last year.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
despite steel prices, everything happened, our turnover also went up. So, but still we are able to contain at that level.
Understood. This is very helpful. And second, on the receivables, are there some projects which are likely to get completed this year or next year, which can release significant amount of contract assets or receivables?
Badai, कौन-कौन से Surat, कौन-कौन से, what are the projects in pipeline which we are like?
Which are likely to complete this year are NTPC projects, Nabinagar. There are two Nabinagar. One is joint venture with NSPCL, NPCL, one is DRPCL. Both are joint ventures. And there is another venture of NTPC with same NSPCL. These are going to be closed this year. And Surat we have already completed. That also we are going to close. So these are the projects which are major projects which are getting closed in the process.
And any outlook on how do you see your receivables come down?
It will be helping the liquidation of
Contractors.
Can you give some sense of how much do you expect to get liquidated with these projects?
That will depend on the terms of payment. The final deferred payment the specifics will vary from the contract to contract, sir.
No, he's asking that whatever projects you are planning to commission,
Yes, sir.
either in the current year or in the future, how much of that you expect to be liquidated out of contract assets? Once you commission it.
These 4 projects we have mentioned, do we have figures for?
Figures will not be there, sir.
We don't have them now, but they can be shared separately.
Okay, understood.
Not applicable because these are all supplies have been completed.
No, deferred also.
Will get, sir.
We'll give them.
Okay, understood. That's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Next question is from the line of Sumit Kishore, Axis Capital. Please go ahead. I will repeat. The participants who wants to ask the question, please signal the operator by raising the hand. Next question is from the line of Tina Virmani, Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. I have 2-3 questions. My first question is regarding this NPCIL order. Can you give some clarity as to when can we see the commencement of execution and what is the time frame of executing this particular project? This is the first question, and I'll ask the remaining questions once you have answered this.
Go ahead.
This total order booking for this NPCIL order is 10,800 crores, and it will be spread over number of years. The execution of the first unit, that time period will not be available with me right now, but it is going to be staggered. And first 2 orders for the 2 projects which we have got, that is our Haryana one, and the other is
Gorakhpur.
The
Gorakhpur,
Haryana, GHMAP, and the other is it is Kayana only.
It is the fleet mode procurement of steam generators.
This is for the steam turbine STG we have got for the fleet mode.
This is actually in fleet mode, so as yet the complete thing is not, the orders are not formed up in terms of the timeline and specific orders. They will keep coming in.
Okay.
What we have at the moment will start, the execution is to start in the coming year. And I think it will take about 3 to 4 years is the time I think that we have for that.
For
Around
the
by 25.
for the entire 6 packages.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And my second question is regarding the split of these debtors among CPSUs, SEBs, private and exports. I might have missed it out in the
So
beginning.
percentage bata do. Here. You tell the percentage. Yogesh.
Yes. As on end of H1, about 42% belong to state utilities, 36% to central PSUs, 14 with private customers, and about 8% with exports. Proportion is nearly similar to March numbers.
Okay. And in terms of these debtors, how much is the collectibles and how much are deferred?
Here, trade receivables are 7220, and the contract assets are 23938.
But truly speaking, if you ask the question of deferred, which are basically the money gets collected only on completion of PG tests and other milestones, that is around 16,000 crore. Because contract assets also includes revenue on storage. Whatever revenue we have taken on storage basis, as per the accounting standard, that also is a part of contract asset. So as far as deferred debtors are concerned, it is around 16,600 crore.
Deferred is how much, sir?
16,600. 16600.
16,600.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And remaining would be the contract assets.
Yeah, remaining are billable and though billable in short term. But the major challenge is this deferred one.
So
Got
just to complete the previous question regarding the NPCIL order, the GHAPP 1 and 2, they are the expected, the EDCs have already commenced from August 21, and there's a time of 57 months and 63 months. For the next 4 units, the date of commencement is not yet given. So once that date is given, from that date, it will be 57 and 69 months respectively.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
One more point I just want to clarify here, the questions are coming on debtors and the cash and the realization of money from outstanding things and all that. Now the company's strategy is toward, is focused towards cash orientation, Whatever operations we are now doing, whatever projects we are doing, these are focused towards cash. It is not that, if cash is not coming, BHL is also taking position and we are stopping the work. It has happened in many of the projects. So ultimately, the risk of cash, even we look at the ratio of cash to net billing ratio, last year it was 82%. Even in the current year also, the ratio up to 64%, as compared to 54% last year. The focus is on cash. So cash, we have been talking on cash now. Ultimately, because of that cash return also, some of the top line is also getting hit. If the cash is not coming, the BHL is taking position and turnover is not happening. That is also one of the, I will not say the major factor, but one of the factors. So in future, cash risk should not be there, what I see today.
Next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar, DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, please go
Two
ahead.
questions on my side. First is, sir, as we enter FY the next fiscal year, how do you see the ordering, with the frequency you see the order inflow is likely to happen in FY23? And what are the kind of capabilities we are building for, those the new businesses? And is there something we are doing on the clean and new energy, especially hydrogen or something else, which you would like to comment upon?
So on the clean energies, on the hydrogen front, we have a dedicated business group set up. We are looking at the various elements, right from the production to the storage and transportation to the utilization. And what are the specific areas we can work on? So I think within the next few periods, we should be having a clear plan as to where we will go on the hydrogen. In addition to that, clean coal, we are looking at coal to methanol is a major initiative. We are looking at clean coal. And of course, then there are, from the this year pollution control, and those areas are of course with the ongoing sectors. What were your first two? You're not audible, not very clear on the first one.
The
What was
first question was, as we enter FY23, where do you see the order coming from for the company? Which are the segments?
So,
And something you can and something you can comment on the refining ordering outlook for FY23.
So on FY23, we are looking at a mix in the coal sector also. Some recent announcements have happened, some discussions have happened, which indicate that at the moment we will be having some movement in the coal sector also. And then, of course, our focus on these areas like railways, defense, as well as oil and gas, EPC and oil and gas. These are the major areas that we are looking for going ahead. And yes, refinery side, there are, of course, a lot of, there is almost 20,000 crores to happen in the next 2 to 3 years. So that's another major one which will happen. Then on our SRGM, which you also mentioned, you see there is we have already an order of about 20. We are expecting about 20 odd guns, which will be about 2,500 crores in the current year, and another about 4,000 crores should happen over the next year or so. There's another about 30 odd guns have to happen. So that's the sort of expectation that we are having at the moment.
Understood. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thank you.
Next question is from the line of Pulkit Patni, Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
So thanks for taking my question. So my first question is on depreciation. We were at a run rate of about 100 crore a quarter, which has fallen to almost 42 crore. Now the explanation you gave is that we have reassessed the useful life of assets. Does it mean that the life of these assets are doubled? I mean, if you could just clarify how come depreciation almost half of what the historical run rate was.
So basically, Q2 includes the impact of Q1 change also. Change has been made effective from 1st April 21, and the same has been disclosed in the results also. Since the change is effective from Q1 itself, 1st April itself, so the impact is looking to be probably more in Q2. So 154 crore depreciation is
if
there.
If you look at 154 crore, it comes to around 75 crore per month, per quarter, then around, it will be around 300 plus, will be the number for the year.
Yes.
So the reduction is just around 100 crore, as compared to the past number.
Okay, understood. That clarifies, and I assume that's the run rate we need to take for the outer quarters also.
Actually, the basic purpose of reviewing the depreciation policy, cost competitiveness, is a challenge for BHEL. So whatever strategy is being adopted by our competitors, near competitors like L&T, we have aligned the depreciation rate with our near competitors. So, the other, whatever is the practices followed in industry and in competition also, that we have tried to adopt it, in depreciation rates. That is also one of the reasons, not for bottom line, but ultimately these are also going in our cost of pricing. So we have taken accordingly.
Understood, sir. So, secondly, could you highlight what will your capex be for this year and next year, full year capex numbers?
Around 250 crore is the plan for the current year. The same would be for the next year.
And this, I'm assuming, is maintenance capex plus expansion capex, whatever it is.
No, it does not include the expansion capex. In case, defense, as CMD has spoken about, some 150 crore capex will be required additionally. That will be also a part of that.
This is essentially maintenance and debottlenecking. So the other areas which we are looking at the moment, which could have substantial capex, those will be separately done. This is what we are seeing at the moment on the regular ongoing capex.
Sure, sir. Got it. So, my last question is it fair to assume, because we've done pretty decent in terms of top line this quarter, that all bottlenecks related to COVID are behind us and we could go back to historical run rates in terms of revenue for the second half?
Well, we need to keep our fingers crossed for that. I think COVID is something unpredictable. None of us can predict. But other than that, we are going all out to try for that. That is our objective. But with fingers crossed.
But no, what I meant is that your current execution that we saw in the second quarter did not have any impact of COVID-related disruption per se. That's what I'm trying to ask.
Yes. So
It partially, there was an impact of still 1,500 crore impact was there. Had this COVID-related disruptions were not there, our turnover would have gone by 1,500. But I told you one of the major factors is also the cash. Cash is also one of the factors. When we execute things, cash is not coming, then certainly we are taking positions with those customers also. So that is also one of the reasons. If you do turnover, your debtors will go up. And you'll ask the question on debtors. You have just asked the breakup of debtors, where the debtors stuck up. And the number what was given to you is around how much is with state utilities?
43%.
43% is with state utilities. So you know who are the customers of DHEL. So in case we push for more turnover, more execution, which is not required, and ultimately cash will go away. So we have to maintain a fine balance between cash and turnover. That is also a major
got it, sir.
What has also been explained in terms of project focus. So turnovers will all be execution focused, project focused.
Got it. Understood. Thank you.
Participants who wants to ask the question, please raise the hand.
6:15. Okay.
Participants who wants to ask the question, please raise the hand.
Can you close? Close, I think.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you for your patient hearing and for the interactive session and for your interest in BHEL. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of BHEL, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.